I think people get tattooed because, there's not a lot of real stuff left in the world, and it's all like a 24-hour news cycle. Nothing lasts. With tattooing, it's blood, it's pain, it's permanence. When you get that needle in your skin for the first time, you have to be there. You can't just call it in. You have to sit there and take the pain, and then sit there and heal it, and then you got to live with the consequences of your action.
Welcome to the East West Podcast with your host, Horisumi, on July 31st, 2025. So this is my second time filming this episode because I didn't like the first episode, so we're going to do this again. This is part 2 of my AI philosophizing and discussing the impact on tattooing with AI and the impact on everything else as well, right? Because tattooing doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's related to the economy, people having jobs, people being interested in tattooing, the magic of tattooing. All these things contribute to us having a vibrant craft with lots of patrons, right? As I said in the last one, look, I might repeat myself on stuff in the last episode. I can't exactly remember what I spoke about, so I'll probably have a little bit of overlap. I know I talked about AI drawings and people using AI to create designs and just creating a ton of slop and tattooing on people. Look, I've experimented with AI to see what it can do, and it's, some stuff it can do okay. Some stuff it's fucking terrible, and it's all soulless. It's like I always said, and I'm going to, a lot of you tattooers aren't going to like what I'm saying here. I even think that iPad drawings look rather soulless compared to pen and paper drawings. You can always look at an iPad drawing and tell it's an iPad drawing for the most part. I feel like that it lacks something, lacks a bit of soul. That's just me. I don't really draw on iPads unless I'm doing like some design work for graphic design or something non-tattoo related. So it's a great tool for some stuff. For tattooing, I think it lacks, right? That's just me. But AI drawings definitely lack soul. And this push, like we talked about before, this push to take the humanity out of the arts, take the human out of tattooing, take the human out of creation is not the future we were fucking promised when I was a little kid. We were told flying cars, the robots were going to do all the hard work, and then us humans could create and play in the gardens and frolic and do beautiful art and write poetry and write novels and stuff. And it's turned into the fucking complete opposite. Is that all those creative jobs are gone to AI. All the poetry and art and writing and stuff are done by fucking computers and robots. And the hard work still has to be done by us. So we were lied to. But it's funny, because there's I don't know if you guys have seen, there's this AI robot out there that does tattoos now called Black Dot, right? And it's kind of like a 3D printer thing. You put your arm in and it does a tattoo on you. And what's crazy is there's actually one of the biggest famous tattoo shops in New York called Bang Bang has got this robot working in it, which blows my fucking mind. Why you would bring in technology that makes you obsolete into your tattoo shop so they can trial it and perfect it and then replicate it at scale, right? Fucking stupid, if you ask me. But it basically makes little dot matrix style tattoos in the same style of the stuff they do at Bang Bang, little bullshit fine line stuff that's popular with people for some reason. Apparently it hurts less, little tiny needles, doesn't go as deep. So these tattoos are garbage, they're not going to fucking last. But it's a novelty to go and get your arm put in a machine and get a tattoo, like you're in that movie Idiocracy, right? Because that's exactly what the fuck it is, right? And so this whole idea of removing people, and I read the comments on this stuff, I deep dive this stuff and I research it, and pretty sure the guy who built this machine doesn't have any tattoos. Can't say for sure, but I didn't see any in the pictures. But the comments, people are keen for this. People are keen to remove tattooers from tattooing because, we're all arrogant bastards, we charge too much, etc., etc., etc. And this, this is the This is why my generation, and the generation even more so before mine in tattooing, gate-kept tattooing, was to prevent this kind of sentiment, right? It was always, back in my day, it was keep your prices fair. Don't fucking overcharge people, right? Shut the fuck up about money. Like, shut up about money. Talking about money creates envy. Talking about money makes everyone look at you, right? It also makes people who are not interested in tattoos suddenly get interested in tattooing. And we saw this during COVID and in the preceding years, like Ink Master and these kind of shows promote this idea of you could make a lot of money tattooing. And tattoos are expensive, and you can earn a lot of money for doing fuck all, right? And I recently saw a clip on Instagram of a guy going around, like a podcaster going around at a tattoo convention in America, asking all these people what they charge. And these people are just to a fucking stranger, oh, I charge this much a day, and that much a day, and this much a day, and this much an hour. I'm just like, holy shit, dude, shut the fuck up, right? Not only are you going to get the government looking down at you, breathing down your neck, staring at you, and going through your shit, all these other fucking clowns that are flipping burgers and delivering packages for a living are going to be like, well, I'm going to go be a tattooer, right? Because, hey, I can make X amount of dollars a day. And then you're just going to create envy. People are going to be jealous of you and hateful of you, right? And then if you're charging too much, clients are going to resent you. People are going to resent tattooers, as we see now, as I'm saying in these comments, right? All this stuff is related, right? Tattooing is a luxury item, right? No one needs a fucking tattoo. Like, no one needs a Gucci handbag. You don't need a fucking tattoo. And it's aimed at the, working class and lower class people, right? The reality of it, it's aimed at regular people. Highbrow people might get a tattoo or two, and there's outliers, of course, right? There are outliers. But the majority of people who come into shops and get tattooed are working class, middle class, lower class people. These people who work for a living, they don't have trust funds, they don't have giant portfolios of investments where they live off the dividends. These are working people with a wage. Could be a good wage, could be a medium wage, could be a low wage, right? But it's a wage. They work for their money. And I tell my staff all the time, it's like, man, you're charging for a fucking 5-minute tattoo probably what that person makes in a fucking day, right? If it's a regular middle class or a working class person. And you gotta keep that in mind, right? And this is one of the things that I think is, causing issues in the tattoo. Well, my prices are here at the shop, and I regulate them, are probably the same or lower than when I opened the shop 12 years ago. Because when the economy has a bit of a downturn, as we're seeing now, right? You don't put your fucking prices up. You put your prices down a little bit, and you give everyone a little bit of a break, and then everyone can still get tattooed, and everyone can still, partake in tattooing, right? Yeah, my rent has doubled since I opened the shop, but my prices are still the same. I eat it, because I'm a business owner, and I like tattooing, and I want people to still get tattooed, right? That's just good business, and it's smart, and it protects tattooing. The people that are jacking their prices up, I don't understand that. And I've seen in other businesses, I've seen restaurants close by to me that have done this, and they're fucking empty, right? And they're going to go out of business. It's fucking stupid, right? Now, the AI thing, I just got some notes today so I don't miss any topics, right? Yes, I wear glasses because I'm old. The AI revolution that's coming, as much as it's affecting tattooing in a direct sense where people are using AI to draw, reference, and make tattoos like this little black dot robot. We've also got the factoring in all these jobs are going to be lost, all these white-collar jobs are going to be lost, right? Well, maybe truck driver in a couple of years. I keep saying that driverless trucks are going to take over. But we've got graphic designers out of work, we've got solicitors out of work, we've got architects, engineers, even doctors. I watched a video this morning on a guy who reads x-rays for a living. Went to school for a ton of years, huge debt, learned his craft on how to read x-rays. Fucking ChatGPT does it in 2 fucking seconds, he's out of work, right? So there's whole entire lines of work that are being decimated, right, by the AI revolution. And that's going to have a trickle-on effect, right? When you have a substantial part of the population not having a high-paying or good job, or any job, right? So this is also coming down the pike, right? It's something to consider, right? It's something to consider in terms of how that's going to look at affecting the economy as well, right? When all these people are out of work, right? Now, I did mention last episode that somebody had made a tattoo AI, right? And I didn't mention any names because I was still talking to them about it. But that person is now not replied to my messages. And someone mentioned in the comments on that episode that, hey, was it Woboripedia? And yeah, it was, man. It was. This guy, Jean, that runs Woboripedia, he basically scraped all of the podcasts that we did. And I did an episode, and a lot of other people did episodes where we, I wouldn't say spilled your guts, but you tell your story, you talk about stuff, you give your perspective on things. You know, you give up a little bit of your secrets when you have a podcast, you're having a one-on-one, because you want to maybe spread your message, educate the masses, contribute to the overall tattoo base of knowledge in a helpful and meaningful way, which is my so why I do the podcast and why I did that interview and why I write articles, right? I love tattooing and I like being part of it and I like contributing. But this guy, you know, what he did is he threw all his podcasts and a bunch of other stuff, and I mean a bunch of other stuff, into an AI and scraped all that information and created a pay-for-play Wobori AI, where you can pay and then you can ask the machine all the fucking secrets that everyone who did his podcast fucking divulged, right? And hey, you might think that's cool. I don't think that's cool. And a lot of other tattooers are not fucking happy about that because that wasn't the fucking deal. That's not why we did the podcast, right? And look, I do this podcast. I've done maybe 60 episodes. I don't divulge secrets. I philosophize. I talk theory. I talk opinions, as you know. But tattoo knowledge, secret tattoo knowledge, I don't say secret, but it's stuff that you can't really look up for the most part. And there's a reason for that. As we just discussed, gatekeeping is important. When you open the fucking floodgates to sacred stuff, a sacred craft like tattooing, which is one of the only real things left in the world, as my intro says, right? You know, when you open the floodgates and you put all that information out there for anyone to have access to, it waters it down, it takes its power away, it dilutes it, and it makes it ridiculous, right? It makes it ridiculous. No one, you know, yes, you get a dragon tattoo, and, you know, between me and the client, you talk about the meaning of the tattoo, the power of the tattoo, the history of the dragon. You know, it can be like a talisman, a personal talisman for you, where you feel more confident. You know, tattoos, big tattoos, Japanese tattoos, have this effect, right? It's talismanic, right? And this kind of knowledge and stuff imbued from one person to another, right? From a practitioner of the craft to a client, you bestow something upon them, they get the tattoo. You know, belief is power, right? Belief is magic, right? So this is all part of the process, right? This is all part of the thing. You go to Horiyoshi or you go to Horitoshi or you go to, you know, any of these Japanese tattoo masters and you get your, even if it's a one shot, you get your Tengu or you get your Oni tattoo or you get your tiger or your dragon, and you're getting something from them, right? You're getting this power, you're getting this magic, right? That's how I look at it, right? And to put all this information into a fucking machine that you can't control, right? Someone's going to come along, ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or one of these AI models is going to come along and scrape that up, suck it into the system, and then now it's out in the fucking world. And every fucking 12-year-old fucking kid, you know, can have access to that knowledge, right? Knowledge that it used to take people like me. I used to fucking fly to Japan, find a master, get an appointment, get a tattoo, buy some books, have a chat, share my portfolio, you know, build some trust, and you get a little bit of information, right? And it was like a pilgrimage. It was a, you know, it was a thing that you would do, a rite of passage, right? To get this knowledge, right? That's why I take this stuff seriously. I earned it. You know, I worked all over the world. I paid my dues, you know, and look, yeah, maybe I live in the fucking past and things are different now. And this is, you know, this is what people are going to say, you know, that's fine, right? But I can still do my thing. It just irks me and grinds my gears that this person, Jean Gonzalez, I think his name, who's not a tattooer, right? Not a fucking tattooer, goes and builds a fucking tattoo fucking AI to sell access to people. Fuck you, dude. I DM'd you. We talked about it. I explained my fucking case. You couldn't even fucking reply to me the second time. So here you are on blast, right? It pisses me off because I supported that dude. I bought his book and I did his podcast, and I think it's bullshit, right? So that's how I feel about that. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future. We're seeing all this, people just raping tattooing for their own personal benefit, right? It's like people always shit on the boomer generation for pulling the ladder up after them, right? They lived in the greatest peak times of human prosperity, and they're just holding on to all the fucking wealth, right? And just going on cruises and going on holidays and not helping their kids buy homes and not helping with the next generation, right? This is kind of the opposite. This is like, people. Well, it's a bit similar as well. Some of the older dudes as well are, fucking doing how to draw like me courses in every fucking city. Like if you're a good tattooer, man, I've never made a book of my drawings or my designs. I've never taught anyone how to tattoo at a seminar or how to draw like me. Maybe my drawings aren't that good. I don't know, but I'm certainly not fucking teaching anyone how to do it, right? I'm not doing Tabori courses, and I get asked all the fucking time. Don't ask me to teach you how to do Tabori online, because I'm not going to fucking help you, okay? But I get asked all the time. But I see all these guys, and older guys my generation, that are, doing this stuff, right? Doing fucking courses, doing fucking seminars, doing all this shit. It's not my ethos. That's not what I think should be done with tattooing. I think if you're good at something, you protect it, you sell the tattoo. You don't sell the information. You don't teach someone how to pleasure your wife. Do you know what I mean? Which is what we used to say back in the day when you taught people how to fucking tattoo, right? Now there's entire shops of 21-year-old people who have no fucking idea what they're doing, doing these little tattoos on people, and they're busy, and all this stuff comes into the shop and it's 6 months old and you can barely see it and it's garbage. They want us to fix it up, right? But they don't want to get a real tattoo over it, But that's another story. So there's that, right? There's that. And so with this AI thing, it's all related to, how kind of fake and synthetic everything is becoming. I don't know if you guys have seen the new video. Those of you who aren't online maybe all the time, like maybe I have a problem, I don't know, probably. But there's like a video creation engines now, like VO3 is an example, where from a prompt, I could make this video, right? I could make this video with sound effects, with narration, doing things. And it's very hard to tell it's fake, right? So there's going to be so much fake stuff in the future through AI. And it's a shame that tattooing is going to kind of get caught up in that, which is why I try to stay as analog as possible. And this is why every time I see, someone I respect or someone I like using one of these wand machines and stuff, I get a little bit like, oh, another fallen soldier on the battlefield gave in to convenience and ease, Like, I still tattoo my lines with a frickin' doorbell invented in the 1800s and a fucking stick, and that's just me. I like it. I like being analog. I like making my own ink, drawing with paper and pen, using fucking old machines and using Tabori and keeping the craft real, I'm not going to an AI for my fucking information. I have books. I don't have all the stuff in my head. If I need to know, like, what that means or what this does or what this does or what that history is, I'll go look it up in my book and I'll read it, right? And I'll retain some of it and not all of it, But having everything, so convenient and so easy, I think is detrimental to the craft. It really is, And then we've got the other thing coming down the pike here in Australia, which if you're not Australian, you won't know about. But we've got this thing called the Online Safety Act coming, right? You'll love this. So as of fucking December, if you want to get on any social media, right? TikTok, Snapchat, X, Instagram, Facebook, now YouTube, now Google Maps, and a host of other things they're still adding to it, probably ChatGPT and Grok in the future. If you want to get on social media, you're going to have to you have to create a digital ID. I'm going to have to register with a digital ID, biometric face scanning and use that with constant camera verification of my face to be able to be online and use YouTube and these social media apps, right? That's what's happening here in Australia. And and if you try to circumvent that with a VPN, which is what everyone's going to do, they're going to use AI and they're going to scrape all your content and they're going to, basically say, hey, you're talking about Australia, or your content is about Australia, or we think you're in Australia, so we're going to flag your account as Australian, and then you won't have access to it unless you verify yourself with the digital ID. So this is something coming here, which is really exciting. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. I'm of the idea that, it's going to be very hard to implement. They did a really shit job of trying that shit during COVID. It'll be interesting to see if they pull it off now. I don't think so. I mean, Google says they're going to threaten the Australian government to stop it because, obviously Google runs YouTube and Gmail and Google Maps and all these things. You're going to have to verify your fucking ID to check your email or to use the mapping app, which is fucking insane, right? The whole premise of this, of course, is to protect children from online harm, but they're not regulating the porn sites, and they're not making user ID necessary for the porn sites. The problem is when you say you have to prove you're 16 to go on social media, everyone has to prove they're over 16, whether you're 17 or you're 50, right? So the entire country is going to have to give up their digital anonymity to go on social media. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, right? To see how they pull this off, right? So I know a lot of Australians who don't even know this is coming. This starts December 10th, 2025. So just a heads up. They're already doing this to a lower extent in the UK. It started last week, but it starts here in December, and we're going to be the tip of the spear for full online digital censorship. Yeah, so that's interesting. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping VPNs work, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's kind of my rant for today about all this stuff. This whole censorship thing also ties into the cashless society as well, which is coming. I mean, here they're pulling all the ATMs out of everywhere. They're closing down branches. There's branch banks here in Australia that don't even deal in cash. You can't deposit, you can't withdraw. They're really going for the full control panopticon here, where if everything's digital, I don't know, look, I'm a little bit deep in some of these rabbit holes, right? But they're talking about, these central bank digital currencies that will be programmable. So you get your paycheck in a digital currency, but it'll have an expiry date on it. And it sounds crazy. You can look this up yourself. They're talking about it. They're not doing it. They're talking about it. But you'll have a month to spend your wages, right? And if you don't spend it, it expires, right? So this kind of control, we saw this during that COVID trucker rally thing in Canada, where the government just started shutting down people's bank accounts and freezing their accounts for supporting the trucker convoy, which was a dangerous escalation in government overreach, right? So good times ahead. This is why I live in the country and grow my own food, right? I have my own cattle. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed my little soliloquy into these topics. If you don't already know, I run a tattoo advice company, and I'm not calling it an advice company now because I was calling it Tattoo Ready Consultation Service, and I think it's confusing people. I don't charge for consults to get tattooed by me. You send me an email, no matter who you are, I will reply to you and have a conversation with you about your tattoo getting tattooed by me, right? Don't charge for that. I also have a tattoo advice company where I do one-on-one video advice sessions talking about tattoos in general. So if you've got a shitty tattoo and you want to cover it, you can buy a session with me, and I can discuss your options with you on how best to cover it. If you're in America, you're in England, or you're wherever you are, I can help you with that and give you some good solid advice. We can talk about designs, meanings, whatever, right? Small tattoo, big tattoo. I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to tattoos. So I offer this. It's just a little fun thing on the side just to give back a little bit. It's not expensive. Our dollar is absolute shit in Australia. So if you're in America, it's like half price of what you see listed on the website there. So the website for that is tattoos.com.au, right? One-on-one video advice session. Yeah, and my other I make hats, so I got embroidered caps on the website. If you want to buy a t-shirt, hit the authentic.com website. I got t-shirts, caps, pins, all that kind of stuff. I never really spruik my merch, but I like making stuff and I like selling it. And I've got another little side clothing company called Apocalypse Social Club, where you can go look at it. It's apocalypse-sc.com or Apocalypse Social Club on Instagram, where I make kind of LARPing prepper merch, with firearms and funny stuff on a hat, if you're into that stuff. All right? Apocalypse Social Club and Tattoo Ready. Guys, thanks for watching. Long episode today. I enjoyed chatting. And if you have some ideas for some episodes or something you want me to address, send me a DM, hit me in the comments, and I'll do my best to take you up on that, all right? Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. See you later.